Hello everyone and welcome to this new tutorial on my channel. And in this video I'll be showing you how to make this adorable coaster with roses. And you can make the roses in whichever color you'd like. Here I made a classic one with red roses. Here I made one with pink roses, but that's totally up to you. Also, when you're gifting it to someone, you can just fold it up like this. Put a string around it right here and then you have a cute little bouquet. And I think that's really adorable as a gift. So I hope you will like the video. If you like it, don't forget to give the thumbs up. This would really help me a lot. And let's get started. You'll need 3 different colors of yarn for this project, white and green for the coaster and 1 color for the roses. I'll be making this one with red roses. Also, it's important to keep in mind that it's best to use 100% cotton yarn for this project. And that is because cotton yarn is heat resistant, whereas other yarn types may not be. For example, acrylic yarn is not. So if you would put a hot cup of tea on top of your coaster and you have made it out of acrylic, it would melt. And that's not the case for cotton yarn. You'll need a crochet hook. I'm using a 3mm hook, scissors, a darning needle and a stitch marker. Okay, so first we're gonna make this white middle part of the coaster. So for that we're gonna grab our white yarn and we're gonna start off by making a magic circle. And if you're not entirely sure how to do this, I've got a separate video on my channel explaining how I'm always doing it, and I will link that down below in the description. Alright, so for the white part of the coaster, we're mostly going to be making rounds of double crochet. And there are several ways to start off a round of double crochet. For example, I think the most common one is to chain 3. And then you would count this chain 3 as your first double crochet of the round. So this top chain right here would be the stitch you will be working on for the next round. Okay, you can use this method, however, I'm not going to use it for this project because it's going to create tiny gaps into your work. However, if you prefer this method, you can use this one as well. So what I'm going to be using is I'm going to be making a standing double crochet at the beginning of each round. So let me show you how to do that. For a standing double crochet, we're first going to make this loop on a crochet hook larger, like this. Then we're gonna place our index finger on top of this loop and make sure you keep a lot of pressure here. This is really important. Then we're gonna go underneath the loop like this. Then we're gonna go into the magic circle, pull up a loop, and now you have 3 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. Alright, that's a standing double crochet. Now for the first round, we're going to be making a total of 12 double crochet, 1 standing double crochet and 11 regular double crochet. So now let's make 11 regular double crochet. So yarn over, go into the magic circle, pull up a loop. Now you got 3 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Okay, make a total of 11 regular double crochet. And 11. Alright, so once you got a total of 12 double crochet, 11 regular double crochet, together with your standing double crochet, we can go ahead and close the magic circle. Okay. Then we're going to do a slip stitch into the standing double crochet. So that's the one right here. If you're not entirely sure which stitch right here is your first double crochet, something I like to do is to count backwards. So for example, we made a total of 12 double crochet for this first round. So then let's count from this stitch right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So then this is your first double crochet. We're gonna go in there and make a slip stitch. So yarn over, pull through the stitch and pull through the loop on your hook. Okay, now to finish the round, let's first insert our stitch marker, and we're gonna insert it not into the slip stitch, but into the stitch right in front of the stitch, the slip stitch. The last double crochet that we did. All right, that was it for the first round. Okay, so for the second round, we're gonna be doing double crochet increases in all of the stitches that we got around. So we'll be doing a total of 12 double crochet increases, and because of that, we're gonna go up from a stitch count of 12 to a stitch count of 24. So first, let's do a standing double crochet into the same space as where we did the slip stitch into. So for that, we're gonna make this loop bigger. We're gonna place our index finger on top of here, go underneath the loop, go into the same stitch as where we did the slip stitch, yarn over, pull through. Now you got 3 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. Now we're going to make one more regular double crochet into this space to make an increase. So yarn over, go into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. That's our first increase. Okay, now let's go to the next stitch. Let's do a double crochet in there. And now we're gonna make one more double crochet into this same space right here. Okay, we're gonna repeat this all the way around, and you should be putting in your last increase into the stitch with the stitch marker. So let's do that, and I'll meet you at the end of this round. Okay, I'm gonna be doing my last double crochet increase here. Like that. Then I'm gonna do a slip stitch into the standing double crochet right here. Then I'm gonna insert my stitch marker not into the slip stitch, but into the last double crochet that we did. That's right there. And that was it for the second round. Now for the third round, we're gonna do 1 double crochet into the first stitch and a double crochet increase into the second. We're gonna repeat this all the way around, and because of that, we're gonna go up from a stitch count of 24 to a stitch count of 36. All right, so let's first start by making our standing double crochet. And we're gonna make the standing double crochet into the same space as where we did the slip stitch. That's right here. Like that. Then we're gonna make a double crochet increase into the second stitch. Like that. Then we're gonna make 1 double crochet into the next stitch and make a double crochet increase into the second stitch. Okay, so repeat this pattern of making 1 double crochet into the first stitch and a double crochet increase into the second all the way around, and you should be putting in your last double crochet increase into the stitch with the stitch marker. So let's do that, and I'll meet you at the end of the third round. Okay, so I'm at the end of the third round, so we're gonna make 1 double crochet into the stitch in front of the stitch marker. Then we're gonna take the stitch marker out, and we're gonna make a double crochet increase into this stitch. Like that. Then we're gonna do a slip stitch into the standing double crochet. And we're gonna insert our stitch marker into the stitch in front of the slip stitch. And that was it for the third round. Now for round 4, we're gonna do 1 double crochet into the first stitch, 1 into the second, and a double crochet increase into the third stitch. We're gonna repeat this all the way around, and because of that, we're gonna go up from a stitch count of 36 to a stitch count of 48. Alright, so let's first make a standing double crochet into the first stitch. Make 1 double crochet into the second. And let's make a double crochet increase into the third. Okay, 1 double crochet into the first, 1 into the second, and make a double crochet increase into the third. We're going to repeat this all the way around, and you should be putting in your last double crochet increase into the stitch with the stitch marker. So let's do that, and I will meet you at the end of round 4. Okay, so now I have 2 stitches left in front of the stitch marker. So let's do 1 double crochet to the first, 1 into the second, and let's do a double crochet increase into the stitch with the stitch marker. Like that. Okay, now let's do a slip stitch into the standing double crochet. And that was it for round 4. Now for round 5, which is the last round of this white part, we're gonna do something a little different. So first let's insert the stitch marker into the slip stitch that we did. So that's just the last V right here. Like that. And for round 5, we're gonna be making slip stitches into all of the stitches that we got around. And something important to keep in mind is that you make these slip stitches quite loosely, so make sure that you don't have a lot of tension on your working yarn. Okay, so let's find our next stitch. So that's not the stitch where we did the slip stitch into, but the next one. And let's make a slip stitch. All right. Make sure that you don't have a lot of tension on your yarn. Make them quite loosely. Like that. Okay, do this all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, so now I'm gonna do my last slip stitch into the stitch with the stitch marker. Like that. And by that, the round is finished. And now we can cut the yarn short, leave some end to it because we're gonna have to hide it into our work. And just pull it through. All right, now let's hide the yarn ends already. So for that, we're gonna grab our darning needle, and I'm first gonna hide this end, which is the one of the magic circle. I'm gonna attach it to my needle, and I'm just gonna move through some stitches. So I'm gonna start close to my yarn end. Gonna go, for example, through these, and I'm just gonna pull it through. Okay, and then we can already cut it short. Like that. Now I'm gonna hide this yarn end as well. So attach it to your needle. And first I'm gonna bring it to the back of my work, and I'm gonna do that by going through the same stage as where we did the slip stitch. So that's right here. Like that. Then we're gonna move through some stitches. Doesn't really matter where you're going. Just make sure that it's hidden into your work. Something like that, and just push it through. Okay. And then you can cut it short. Okay, so now that the white part is finished, we can go ahead and make the green part around it. So for that, we're gonna grab our green yarn and we're gonna start off by making a slip knot. So for making a slip knot, we're gonna grab the yarn end between our right middle finger and thumb. Then we're gonna wrap it around our index finger to create a loop. Then we're gonna pull the long yarn end through the loop and tighten it by pulling the short yarn end. All right, then you can attach it to your crochet hook. And for the next round that we're gonna make, we're gonna work into the back loops of the slip stitches only. So for example, we've got a V right here. We're not gonna go underneath the entire V like this, but we're gonna go underneath the back loop only. So for example, only this one right here. All right, so it doesn't really matter where we start in the beginning. So for example, let's pick this one right here. So go underneath the back loop. And we're gonna attach it first by making a slip stitch. Okay, so now that it's attached, we're gonna go ahead and chain 6. Like that. Then we're gonna do a double crochet into the same back loop right here. So yarn over, go into this same back loop and do a double crochet. Then we're gonna chain 1. We're gonna skip the next 3 back loops and we're gonna do the next double crochet into the 4th back loop here. So yarn over, go into this back loop and make a double crochet. Then we're gonna chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and make a double crochet into the same back loop right here. All right, then we're gonna chain 1, we're gonna skip the next 3 back loops and we're gonna do our next double crochet into the 4th back loop. Okay, chain 4 and do a double crochet into the same back loop here. Chain 1, we're going to skip the next 3 back loops, do your next double crochet right here. Chain 4, do another double crochet in here, and then we're going to repeat this. So chain 1, do a double crochet into the 4th back loop, chain 4, do another double crochet into the same back loop, and that's it. Repeat this all the way around and I will meet you at the end right here. There's one more thing I wanted to show you in case you get confused here, because here is where we finished off our work. So here you can see that we did the last slip stitch into this stitch right here. So don't get confused here. These 2 V's are basically one stitch. And then this is the next one and this is the next one. So in case you're gonna have to do a double crochet in here, you can do your double crochet into this back loop right here, or into the V right here, into this back loop. That doesn't really matter. But this is one V right here. Okay, I'm doing my last double crochet here, and now I'm gonna chain 1 and I'm gonna connect it to this first one right here. So for that, I'm gonna go into the chain 6 space and I'm gonna do a slip stitch. Okay, now we're gonna do one more round with the green because we're gonna make some leaves into the chain 4 spaces. So for making a leaf, we're gonna chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna skip the first chain, and into the second chain from the hook, we're gonna do a slip stitch and do a single crochet into the third chain. Like that. Then we're gonna do a slip stitch back into the chain space right here. And now we're gonna make one more leaf. So for that, we're gonna chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna do a slip stitch into the second chain, a single crochet into the third chain, and do a slip stitch into the chain space. Okay, we're gonna do that for all of the chain spaces right here. So first, to get to the next chain space right here, I'm gonna be doing 3 slip stitches to get there. So first I'm gonna do a slip stitch into this double crochet that we did. So go into that hole right there and do a slip stitch. Then I'm gonna do a slip stitch right into this hole here. So I'm just gonna go underneath here and do a slip stitch. Okay. Then I'm gonna do my last slip stitch into the chain space right here. Like that. And then I'm gonna start making leaves again. So chain 3. Do a slip stitch into the second chain, do a single crochet into the third, and do a slip stitch back in here. Now let's make one more. So chain 3, do a slip stitch into the second chain, do a single crochet into the third, and do a slip stitch. Now we're gonna do the slip stitches here again. So do a slip stitch into the double crochet, one into this space in between here, and one into the next chain space. And then we're gonna repeat the same thing. Okay, so do this all the way around and I will meet you at the end. Okay, so I'm at the last space right here. Like that, and then I'm gonna make one more slip stitch into the double crochet here. And then I'm gonna finish off my work. So just cut it short, like that, and pull it through. Okay, now we're gonna hide these yarn ends as well. So grab your darning needle. And we're just gonna move through some stitches. So for example, I'm gonna go through this leaf right here. Just gonna push it through. And then we can already cut it short. Okay, gonna hide this one as well. So first I'm gonna go up the chain and then I'm gonna go through this leaf right here. Like that, and just push it through. Okay, and cut it short. And now the green part is finished as well. Okay, so now the only thing still missing is the roses. So let's make those right now. Okay, so for making a rose, we're first gonna start off by making a slip knot. And then we're gonna make a chain of 10. Then into the third chain from the hook. So we're gonna skip the first two, and into the third chain, we're gonna make a double crochet. So yarn over, go into the third chain and make a double crochet. Now into the next 6 chains, we're gonna make a double crochet increase. So let's do that. Go into the next chain, make a double crochet, go back into the same chain and do another double crochet. That's the first one. We're gonna do that for a total of 6 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now you should have 1 chain left. We're gonna do a double crochet in here. And after that, we're gonna chain 2 and do a slip stitch into the same space right here. Okay, that's it for our rose. Now we can cut it and make sure you leave quite a long end here because we're gonna need that for sewing. Something like that. Now we have made 1, we're gonna make a total of 12 of these. So you can just go back into the video and make a total of 12, and I'll see you again once you got 12 of them. Okay, so once you got 12 of them, let's sew them onto the coaster. So for example, let's first grab this one right here. And we're first gonna hide this short yarn end into our work. So attach it to your darning needle. And we're just gonna move it through some stitches here. Like that. And cut it short. Okay, so we're gonna use the long yarn end for making the rose shape and for sewing the rose onto the coaster. So attach it to your darning needle. And first we're gonna make sure that this gets the little rose shape. And we're gonna do that by rolling it up, going from this end without the yarn end to that side of the rose. So while doing that, we're gonna make sure that the stitches are gonna be on top of each other. So for example, when we start rolling here, make sure that the stitches are just gonna be on top of each other like this. So not that you're going like that or like that, but just make sure that it's all lining up like this. Okay. And then your rose should look something like this. Now to secure the shape, we're gonna make sure that the back is facing us. We're gonna grab the needle and we're just gonna go through the middle from one side to the other side. So for example, we're going to see where our yarn ends ending up. I think this is closest, and then I'm just going to push my needle through there to get to the other side like this. And push it through. Okay. Now I'm gonna go back into my work and I'm not gonna go into the same space right here. I'm gonna move a little bit to the side. And then I'm gonna come out right here at the top. Because first we went from this side to this side. Now let's make one more vertically like that. Okay. And we're gonna move a little bit to the side again. And move to the other side of the rose. Okay, now the shape is secured. We're gonna make sure that our yarn end is coming out of the middle right here. We're gonna do that by moving a bit to the side and just come out of the middle here. Okay, you can check whether that's in the middle. I think I'm gonna have to move a little bit to the right. Okay, something like that. Okay, so once your yarn end is coming out of the bottom middle part of the rose, we can go ahead and attach it to the coaster. So we're gonna attach the roses right in between the leaf spaces into the slip stitch right here. Okay, we're just gonna pull it through there. Then we're gonna grab a string on the rose, which is kind of in the middle, like this, and pull it through. Now we're gonna go through the stitch on the coaster once more. Gonna go from back to front now. Like that. And then we can already secure it. And we're gonna secure it by grabbing a string on the rose. Right here, a random string. We're gonna create a loop. Then we're gonna go through the loop. And by doing that, we're gonna create a knot here. Just pull it tightly. Then we can go into a space close to our yarn end into the rose, come out of the top, and then we can already just cut it short. Okay, so now we have attached one of the roses and we're gonna repeat that for the remaining 11 roses as well. So just sew it into the rose shape and attach it to the slip stitch right in between the leaves. So this will take you quite some time and I will see you again once all of them are attached. Okay, so once all of the roses are attached, the coaster is finished and I hope you like the way yours turned out. If you liked the video, don't forget to give the thumbs up, this would really help me a lot. And if you would like to see more videos like this one, please subscribe and I hope I will see you in another video. So thank you for watching and see you!